everyone, I've got some more books that you can put on your TBR. Today, these are books that you won't be able to put down. I'm going to talk about some books that I've read recently that have been really hard to put down, as well as some books that I'm planning on reading, or books that I've just heard are really, really good that I haven't been able to get to quite yet. Let's start with The River by Peter Heller. So this is a book. It is a mystery that takes place in the outdoors. It is a book that is going to have you turning the pages. Not only are the two main characters in this book running from a giant forest fire, but there's also a murderer on the loose. Now, I will say that I read this book in about 2 days because I couldn't put it down and I stayed up way too late reading it. However, I really, really hated the ending. So I wouldn't say don't read it, but it's the kind of book that I just have to say, you know what, the ending might not be what you're wanting, but it was such a page turner. Here's another one that I stayed up way too late reading, and that is Little Fires Everywhere. I remember when I read this, I was actually on vacation for Christmas. I was at an Airbnb with my family, with my sister's family, and I was just on my phone late at night reading this book on Kindle. This story is about an interesting town. It's actually based on where Celeste Ng, the author, grew up. There's a lot of storylines in this story, but it really centers around a mysterious mother-daughter duo and their friendship with I don't know how you would say it, but seemingly well put together mother of 3, or actually I think she's a mother of 4. She's not quite as put together as you might think. But anyways, there's a lot of mystery to this book. It's a book that keeps you guessing. It has a lot of 90s nostalgia, so if you like the 90s, this is a good one to pick it up. Now this one, Gold by Chris Cleave. This is a very good sports novel, but you don't even have to like sports to like this novel. This is a fast-paced soap opera of a novel about 2 cyclists, so female cyclists. They are going for the Olympics. They are British, and this isn't a spoiler. This is, basically at the beginning of the book. They discover that they used to think there'd be 2 spots in the Olympics, but now there's only 1. But there's a lot more going on here. I feel like every 30 pages, there's a new bombshell that sort of keeps you reading. Absolutely fantastic. Now, if you're looking for some classics, if you're like me and you're on a classics kick right now, The Count of Monte Cristo is a giant classic, but it is one that will keep you turning the page. This does not feel like the 1,000 pages that it is. Actually, it's 1,200 pages. So it doesn't even feel like 1,200 pages. It feels like a quick moving, fast-paced novel. Of course, we all know what this is about. This is about Edmond Dantes. He is wrongfully accused of being a Napoleon sympathizer, and he is sent to jail. His life is ruined, and then it is about his subsequent revenge against the people who put him in jail. Great book, great classic if you've never read it. Now I'll just talk about a few authors that are really, really good at getting you to turn the page. I really love Andy Weir. Both Project Hail Mary and The Martian are 2 audiobooks that I loved. I could not stop listening to them. They are fantastic. This is realistic science fiction. I'm sure we're all pretty familiar with what The Martian was about. It was about a man who, humans, they had already made it to Mars, and he was accidentally left on Mars, and it was how he got back to Earth. Project Hail Mary is a story about, Earth. It's realistic science fiction. Basically what happens is there is a space amoeba or space bacteria that is eating the sun, and so humans come up with one very unrealistic way, but it's the only way they can think of to stop this bacteria. It is their Hail Mary, and that's what the story is about. Both great and both really good on audio. Also, anything by Blake Crouch tends to be very fast-paced, tends to be something that you're wanting to turn the page or keep listening to. Also, I would say Adrienne Young, she's somebody that's really good at getting you to turn the page. This is Spells for Forgetting. I also read another one of her books. I can't remember what it was right now. But I will say about Adrienne Young is that, it's just empty calories, right? It's not The Count of Monte Cristo, right? And I wouldn't even say it's, equivalent to, Gold or Little Fires Everywhere. These are more literature, I would say. Whereas this is just fun. If you're looking for fun, great book to pick up.
Oh, and I just remembered that Adrienne Young has a new book coming out in January of 2025 called A Sea of Unspoken Things. As always, it looks like it's got a great cover, looks like a really fast-paced, atmospheric novel, so I will be looking forward to that one.
Oh wait, before we get to the books that I haven't read yet, let me tell you about the book that I'm reading right now. It is actually a book that I haven't been able to put down. I have been staying up a little bit too late reading this book, but it's not your typical page turner. I'd say the reason why I haven't been able to put it down is because it's so bizarre and so weird that I'm just trying to figure out what is this even about. It's like reading a train wreck, or I should say it's like watching a train wreck. I cannot rest my eyes away from Wuthering Heights. My copy has about 500 pages. I'm about 200 pages in, and it's just so weird. It's about these horrible characters, people that are just, they're continually described as devils, just horrible human beings, and yet I cannot stop reading. What is this book about? Now, I've learned the hard way that when you read classics, you really cannot Google them. Never Google a character in a classic, even if you're confused, because Google will spoil it right away. They will tell you right away whether that character dies or whether they marry the person you're hoping they marry. So I have not Googled anything about Wuthering Heights, even though the whole family tree in the beginning is pretty confusing. Kind of just figured it out on my own. But yeah, stay tuned, subscribe if you want to find out if I like this book or not. It is really strange. Now let's talk about books that I haven't read before, but I've heard really good things about in terms of getting them to turn the page. And one of them is this, The Family Chow by Lan Samantha Cheng. Now this is a murder mystery surrounding a family that owns a restaurant, and I've just heard really good things about this. I've also heard really good things about Battle Royale. This has been described as the Japanese Hunger Games. It's a book that is really good to take on a plane, is kind of how I've heard it described. You're gonna get on the plane and then you're gonna be done with the book and then the plane ride will be over. Also, if you are into courtroom thrillers, The Pelican Brief by John Grisham. I've never read the book, but I've heard that it's a great one to go to if you are in a reading slump and if you are looking for something to get you moving on your reading. Also, The Ballad of Snakes and Songbirds by Suzanne Collins. So this is a prequel to The Hunger Games. The Hunger Games, one of my favorite, books, so trilogies of all time. I was kind of hesitant about reading this one, but then my sister recently told me that it was really, really good. So I am actually going to pick that one up sometime soon.
Oh, just one other thing. I just realized that Suzanne Collins has another Hunger Games book coming out. It's coming out in March of 2025. And this is the story of Mitch. All Hunger Game fans know who Mitch is. This is his story. It is his book. It is his Hunger Games. So that's another page turner that I'm looking forward to.
Codename Verity by Elizabeth Weing. This is another one that I have heard is just really fast-paced. This is a World War II spy novel. I do actually own this one, just haven't gotten to it yet. There's just so many books that I tend to put on my TBR, and then, I just gotta figure out what am I gonna read. And then another one that I've heard is just really, really good, and that is The Secret Keeper by Kate Morton. So this book, it starts off with a bang. It starts off with a girl witnessing her mother murder somebody, and then it sort of goes into the backstory of this woman, of her time in World War II, and how her life led up to that moment of killing a man. But anyways, I hope you found something that you can put on your TBR, especially if you've been in a reading slump recently and you're looking for something fun, you're looking for something to turn the page.